Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to ScubeTV. We have a special guest with us today, Mr. Seth Sifuentes. I tried my best to pronounce his last name. Sorry if I messed it up. Welcome to the show, Mr. Seth. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Srini. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk about, things that are important to everybody. And, again, just thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
No problem. And Mr. Seth Sifuentes is running for state of representatives from Arizona. I forgot the district number.
Oh,
I would like to hear more from you. Sorry. Yes.
yeah. So I'm running in District 26. So District 26 covers a large portion of Eastern Phoenix. So we're talking about Tempe, which is where our college is, Arizona State. We're covering a portion of Mesa, and then we cover the Pima Maricopa Indian community as well.
Very nice. So, can we know more about you, like your education, career, and what made you to get into the politics?
So, yes, I went to high school here in East Phoenix area, out in Gilbert, Arizona. I graduated high school. I joined the United States Navy. I wanted to go out and kind of see the world, do my time, really experience what other parts of the world were like, get back to my country. So during my time in the Navy, I did drug interdiction in Central America. We did anti-piracy in East Africa. And then we also were doing anti-submarine and surveillance for, the Navy as a whole. So my time in the Navy kind of taught me a lot about trying to work with a diverse group of people to accomplish a mission that, otherwise I would have never had anything, any kind of technical training that was like that. So my particular job, I was a heavy weapons. I did air to ground missiles and everything like that. So our job was pretty technical, and obviously there's a great deal of danger that went into it. So having unit cohesion, working together with other people was not only important for the mission, but it was literally important for our lives. So I got out of the Navy. I initially worked in a manufacturing facility. We were building plumbing essentially for the semiconductor industry. There was a lot of gas line and chemical plumbing, and we were involved in, oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Jeez, how embarrassing.
No, I understand those things. Sometimes if you're doing for the phone, we may get it. I understand. Okay. Are you okay now? Good to know that you came from Navy background. We thank you for the services you've done for our country. And whenever you Satam, is it okay now?
Machine shop that was building components for the semiconductor industry. I've also worked at an airline manufacturer. I was working on a TAC helicopter program there for the Department of Defense. And then now, I'm working at a large semiconductor factory. I'm a field engineer over there, so I have a team of technicians that we repair robots that they're creating semiconductors. And so I have a team that works for me. We just try to I like to bring technical expertise to the things that I do, very detail oriented, obviously. And I can speak from experience in saying that protecting STEM jobs, science, technology, those jobs here in Arizona, manufacturing jobs, it's so incredibly important, because somebody like myself that, I have a lot of technical training and everything, I'm able to provide for my entire family based off of, our economy here in Arizona being so, it leans so heavily towards manufacturing and, construction. We build things in Arizona. Yeah.
Very interesting, and I will get into that one in a few seconds. So, what made you to run for the office? You're happy
So,
with the Navy, and then you've been happy in the job, and all of a sudden, why are you getting into the politics?
so I decided to run for office because I'm a father of three daughters. I have a fourth daughter on the way. I'm a family man. I look at the industry that's here in Arizona, and in my district, we have individuals that would certainly like to see policy changes come about that would harm our economy, as far as I'm concerned. As far as the science will tell you. So for me, it's more about protecting the family here in Arizona, protecting jobs here in Arizona, and I'm a Catholic myself, and one thing that we speak about a lot is people needing to step into the fray and defending what is important in our world. And so I kind of felt called that it was my time to step up again, to defend my community.
Gotcha. Okay, very interesting. To know that, I mean, you're, passionate about serving the community, and that's the reason you're trying to run for the office. Uh, I'm coming back to the local and the global issues. Right, we have COVID-19. I mean, creating a havoc. I mean, all over the world, and especially in U.S. And Arizona is also one of the states where numbers are going up. So, what is your view or your perspective, the way it is, the kind of stress or havoc it's creating in the Arizona state, and how did the government respond, and what is the response of the government, both local, federal, state, and federal levels? So I really appreciate your view and perspective on the overall scenario of COVID-19 in Phoenix area or Arizona state.
So that the response to COVID is kind of the big ticket item. What is everybody saying about COVID? So one thing that I can say for sure is that I think that obviously COVID-19 is not a joke, and it's something that we needed to take very seriously, and it taught us a lot of lessons about investing in science and technology in the future to hopefully get ahead of another one of these things before it happens again. And we can be certain that it will happen again someday. So one thing for sure that I do not want to imply is that I'm the man with all the answers. And so what we need to do is, it's the buzzword, it's the common answer, which is we have to follow the science. So I certainly disagree with any kind of mandatory mask mandate. I think that violates personal freedom. However, I do also believe that businesses have the freedom to kick people out if they don't wear their mask and everything. And so I think that, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, I guess. But overall, I agree with the governor's initial shutdown. The initial shutdown, it certainly made sense. We had to get ahead of this thing and protect individual Arizonans. Now, the issue that I took with it, and I don't want to sound like a Monday morning quarterback, was reopening the state of Arizona and then shutting it back down again a few weeks later. So I guess that what we need more than anything is for someone to come forward with a plan, stick to that plan, and stand by their plan, because the shockwaves that went through the Arizona economy based off of the opening, the closing, the opening, there's got to be more there. Now, I will praise the governor and his actions overall, because Arizona went from a hotbed of the virus. We're certainly not out of the throes yet, but we saw 5,000 new cases a day in early July. And now we're at a fifth of that. So currently Arizona is floating around 950 cases a day. Certainly, something that we shouldn't be excited about, but in comparison, the governor's doing a good job on, leading our testing strategy. And, I wish I had the answer on what the right thing to do was. But overall, we just need to remember that we're all in this together. It's a non-answer, but we're all in this thing together, and just, call your neighbors, find out what people in your community need. And, as far as a federal response, man, that is so far above my level. I totally understand to have the answers. Everybody wants to come on and, oh no, it's happening again. Okay, all right. I didn't accidentally hang up on you guys this time. Now everybody wants to call me.
I got you, because yes, no, you were saying something about the response on the federal level, or do you want to skip it, or that's fine? That we can go to another question.
No, so I mean, on the federal level, this is my belief on what the federal government could do in this situation is kind of, it's sort of like a short narrative in the United States. We talk about states' rights and states' responsibilities versus federal. And so what we saw is in the United States, we saw states handle this crisis in several different ways. I mean, if you look at the California mandatory lockdown, the mask mandates and everything, California is still a hotbed, so you can do everything you want. This thing, it's everywhere. I think that in the United States, we have, we've got not an advantage or anything, but we have, man, I can't even think of the word. We basically have to see a very unique response in the sense that we had 50 separate responses in the United States. And so, a federal mask mandate that's being talked about and everything, I mean, we can speculate as much as we want on how much that's actually going to do, because in California, they have the mask mandates, they shut down businesses, and, they're still a hotbed.
Yeah. So coming COVID-19, I mean, you also created another issue, like the economy. One is the health topic, which we discussed, and then the economy is another hard hit area. And Arizona is also, I mean, every state, and Arizona is also not immune to it. And also in your campaign issues, you also mentioned about, I mean, you want to help in generating more high-paying jobs. So, I mean, so what is that plan if you're elected? What is that you would like to propose? I know it's not even your control, you will not change. You don't have a magic wand, and you can say the moment you're elected, you will be able to change everything back to something else. But I mean, what is that? What kind of efforts would you like to take? What do you like to propose to improve the economy and especially high-paying jobs?
Okay, so the answer to that's kind of multi-level, but to start off, I'll say that before this whole COVID took off, Arizona from December 2018 to December 2019 added 177,000 jobs to our economy. And so, on the surface, that sounds like a lot of jobs, but when you look at the numbers, that's actually, we saw the second highest increase in the entire nation. And so Arizona right now is a hotbed based off of our favorable tax rates. We are highly favored for jobs that are looking into moving into new areas. And so what we see is, Tesla was looking at building a plant out here. We saw TSMC, a large semiconductor manufacturer, they're looking at moving a plant out here. We have Boeing, we have all these other large employers that they look at Arizona, specifically the Phoenix area, as a great place to bring in science and technology jobs. And, by and large, those jobs are, to be filled by people who have technical experience or technical ability, and they pay well because they have to. If they don't pay well, you can move on to another company. It sounds too simple, but it really can be that simple. And so, if I were to be elected to the state legislature, I would continue to work with the governor's plan with moving in jobs. He's done a fantastic job ever since he was elected governor. And then, okay, so yeah, we'd move forward with that. I work with a group out here in Arizona that is it's focused on funding more education in the public school system towards STEM. I personally, I'm a history student. I love reading the humanities and everything, but when it comes down to the bare bones, I make significantly more money by being in technology than I do by writing essays and talking to people about how much I love Theodore Roosevelt. So moving forward, we need to invest more into STEM education and get these high school kids into jobs that are going to be dignified and well paying.
Very nice. I mean that's a good thing. I mean everybody is talking about the high paying jobs is needed. Otherwise, we are seeing right now in US. You have two kinds of groups. One is the gap between people having money and not having money is growing a lot. So we have seen that one in the last 10, 15 years. But the question to you would be another thing is right now with the COVID-19, the hardest hit community is the low paying jobs. Like let us say restaurant people work in the restaurants, the retail business, or those kind of people are hit very hard where they need to meet with the people. So what is that you'd like to propose, or what do you see in helping or improving that kind of economy? I know economists are saying that once the economy comes back, sure the business will come back, but they need to survive till the time because of people need the experience to have the experience of eating outside and the ambience and the crowd, those kind of things, the settings they need that want to have a good experience. So that people will for sure they'll go back to the restaurants, those things. But till that time, or once they come back, what is that you propose or you suggest for the policymakers to make sure? These people will survive, or once it comes back, they will improve.
Okay, so that's another answer that's a little bit multi-level for me. So my wife, she worked in the restaurant industry before this whole thing kicked off. And so, you want to talk about layoffs in the restaurant industry affecting you. Yeah, we saw it directly in my home. And so one thing that I would certainly propose or that I back are these the loans that are going to small businesses. And so, the Small Business Relief Fund and everything along those lines, we really need to be paying attention to getting more dollars into that and maybe less in other types of, programs like corporate welfare or, not trying to get myself into trouble by talking about something I might not necessarily understand on the federal level. But yeah, in the United States, we definitely need to be focused on the small business because, obviously every business started out as a small business, and to crush one of those because they're less able to adapt to the most unpredictable thing to happen to our economy is not right. It's not fair. Now, with businesses that are able to, I'm sorry, just a moment. Hey, baby, go play. Okay. Anyway. With small businesses, especially the restaurant industry, they need to be able to adapt. Restaurants are doing drive-throughs and they're doing call-in
Carry out.
That's
Yep.
what they weren't doing before. And so one part of owning a small business is understanding that you will have to adapt. Now, the government should not be getting in your way while you're trying to adapt to unforeseen circumstances. So yeah, just to shorten it, basically there should be a payroll tax cut at this time, and then protecting the small businesses through the Small Business Relief Fund.
Very nice. Okay, related to the same thing with the previous topic, like STEM and then the high-paying jobs, those kind of things. You mentioned that the high school education, the high school and the STEM is important because if you have a good skills I mean, you will be able to get into the high-paying jobs. So to get into the high-paying jobs, your education is important. So what is the I mean, in US, I mean, everybody is talking about. Education system is not that great. It is okay. It is good, not bad. But at the same time, it's not that great when you compare to the other countries. Some of the countries which are doing well. So, what is that you propose, or you would like to bring some changes if you're elected in the education system, especially in the state of Arizona, and so that people will excel and get into the high pay, compete with the other state students or students from the overseas, and excel in their careers.
So I think that so the basis of our education system, first off, we need to be focused on certain things like making personal finance mandatory to be taught in high school, absolutely mandatory, because oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I mean, we start working. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So, you know, uh, geez. All right. So personal finance needs to be mandatory in high school, and that comes from learning how to balance your budget. Focusing a little bit less on, or at least learning the importance of not eating out all the time. Going out to eat expensive food and everything, and building up a 3-month and then a 6-month savings plan. So, kids in high school, they're not taught anything about that. They're taught basically, hey, you're going to exit high school. You're going to take out a $120,000 loan to go to school, and you're going to get a degree that'll get you, $35,000, $45,000 a year. Whereas what we should be teaching, or at least making more prominent, is the fact that these kids, they can come out of high school with some education on working in the electrical field, get an apprenticeship in the an electrician's apprenticeship, and then they're making $35 an hour. Not as an apprentice, but once you get on with the company as a master, you're making some serious money, and it doesn't involve getting $120,000 in debt. Now, another issue that we have is that in Arizona specifically, we have groups that want to place a moratorium on charter schools. And I personally support charter schools to a large degree, because they create competition with the public education system. And anywhere where you see a group of people who are unchecked with no competition, it's very common for them to get off onto a tangent where there's no competition, there's no need to innovate, and the only notable exception that I can see is the military. The United States is very good with their military, but most other government-run programs that don't have any competition are just simply falling behind on standards. So I think that we need to be invested in getting these kids into classes, first off on balancing their checkbook, so they can see what kind of damage going to college could cost them versus what it would actually benefit them. And then putting more money into shop class. When I was going through high school, we had wood shop, but automotive had just been shut down. And I'm a diesel mechanic in the Navy Reserves now, and I can tell you that a diesel mechanic out in Arizona, you can make $25 an hour or more, and instead you can go get your degree for $100,000 and get a job that pays you $21 an hour.
Gotcha. So, I mean, coming back to the education system with charter schools, you said you support the charter schools. I understand the competition point of view, but when you look at the money going from public money going to the charter schools, and some people are opposing that. I mean, competition is okay, but I mean, do you support the public money going to the charter schools too?
So the voucher for education, that's a pretty another pretty complicated topic, but to make it short, yes, because with any other government program, or not any other government program, but anytime that you give a group of people a monopoly on your money, there's a serious issue on how they're going to spend it. So in Arizona, I'll find the specific study, but I read somewhere that out of every dollar that goes into the education system, 31 cents hits the classroom. And so, we spend however many thousands of dollars a year on our education system here in Arizona, and a third of what I'm spending is actually going into my child's education. So, we have a significant issue on where that money is actually going. And so by giving money to a group that has more incentive to use that money properly, provide a better education to keep your children coming back, I'm all for free market competition, and to monopolize money that's coming from my paycheck is not something that I, as an American, can stand for.
Gotcha. So we got your views and perspective on this topic. So at the same time, during this COVID-19, we have another social issue which has started in Minneapolis, and is spread all over the country, and which is a Black Lives Matter. So what is your view and your thoughts on Black Lives Matter, which is going on all over the country right now?
Okay, so my view on the movement itself is certainly that yes, Black lives do matter, and that if the numbers are there to show that there's a significant increase in violence towards African Americans or other colored people, we certainly have an issue to address. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that I do believe George Floyd was murdered, and that his murderers need to be imprisoned and need to be dealt with to the full extent of the law. So my time in the United States military, we had rules of engagement. We have a lot of issues that you can get in trouble for excessive use of force. And I know that police officers have the same type of training. And so it's absolutely unexcusable what had happened to him. I definitely stand with my community in their upsetness over the issue. Now, what I cannot stand behind is the hijacking of the movement, and the people that took that movement and they use this as an excuse to create more violence. And they're going to raid a Gucci store to get products for justice. It's something that I can't stand behind. The racial tension that's in our country right now is certainly something that we have to try to find ways to address. And that's another thing that I simply don't have the answers, but I'll tell people that, all day long I stand behind the people and their right to protest and their right to be heard. I have pain in my heart. I saw the video and everything, and I'm a father. I just can't imagine if I had a son, like, seeing that kind of treatment. But I had another point to make there, and now I'm just kind of out of it.
No, you can come back again if you want to do it. Yes, okay.
But geez, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. The police, especially this particular event, police reforms are another thing which has come up very strongly after this, during this moment. Do you want to talk about that? Or?
So specifically for police moving forward here in Arizona, something that we do need, and something that I've advocated for a long time, is mandatory body cameras for all police officers. So I know that a lot of people say, well, then police officers would be afraid to do their jobs, and this and that. But my opinion on the subject is that I would rather have police officers have these body cameras, because when you hear about people claiming violence from the police or something along those lines, the body camera actually exonerates a police officer seemingly more often than it harms them. So if we could use a body camera mandate to build strength or build trust back between the police officers and the community, and it could also protect police officers in their assigned duties, I'm all for it. Now, I'd like to go back to whenever I was talking about the rules of engagement, because I would like to make it clear that my time in the military, I didn't do a particularly violent job. I wasn't under the same kind of threats that police officers are under literally every day that they step out into the streets. And so I would like to say 100% that I back the police force, but we do have to find a way to rein in trust between the police and the community. And I think that the body camera mandate would certainly help with that.
Gotcha. Very nice. Thank you very much for your views on this particular topic. And when you talk about Arizona, I mean, the discussion won't end without talking about the immigration and some of the cross-border, migration or illegal immigration. So what is your view on immigration and illegal immigration and the situation in Arizona especially?
Okay, so that topic, I look at it from, I'm a Catholic again, and so I look at anybody who's willing to come to our country. First off, we built the greatest country on the face of the planet. I've traveled the world, and I can't blame anybody for wanting to come to the United States of America for our opportunities and for our freedoms. And so, if people are wanting to come to the United States, it's been the common belief that we are the light upon the hill. We're the city upon the hill. So I first off think as an American and as a Catholic that we should be shielding people and bringing in people as much as we can, as much as we can possibly afford to, because first off, bringing in people is the correct thing to do morally, and from an economic standpoint, it's fantastic. I mean, you're bringing in even an increased labor force. You're bringing in people who are going to do what they can to improve their communities whenever their basic needs are met. So first off, what power the state legislature in Arizona has to change immigration policy, I'm not exactly sure. But if we can encourage legal immigration, if someday I'm running for federal office, we should have a removal of quotas for how the percentage of people that can come to this country, because right now we have a major issue of people wanting to move into our country, and it takes them 10 years, and $10,000 or whatever the current numbers are to get into the United States, and they're willing to work and they're willing to contribute to the economy. And I just think that, again, as the greatest nation on earth, we're going to naturally draw people to our home, and we really need to do what we can as soon as we can vet people as well as we can to ensure that they're safe. We need to be bringing these people in so that they can start a new life and contribute to the American economy and contribute to the great American story.
No doubt about it. Thank you. So, do you have any point or message to the audience? How, if they want to be part of your campaign, where they can reach you, and also any other point you want to say or convey your message to the audience?
Yeah. So, anybody else that's listening, thank you so much for spending the time to listen in and everything. You can go to marcusforaz.com. So my middle name's Marcus. I've always gone by Marcus. So marcusforaz.com, and you can reach out to me there. Every email that's sent to me, I personally respond to. I'd look forward to hearing from anybody. I've worked with a great group of people so far, volunteers, and we're really just trying to protect American values here in Arizona. And we're gonna move forward, and we're definitely gonna try to improve things as we go. And again, I'm a political outsider, as they say. So every bit of support that I've gotten so far it's truly been a blessing from God. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Mr. Seth Marcus Sifuentes, coming onto the show and sharing your views and perspective on the different topics. And we wish you all the best in your run. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Have a nice rest of the day. Thank you, sir.